Hey, happy Saturday, everybody. Welcome on to the Left Fresh Podcast, first hip hop episode of March. Hope everyone's having a great weekend. I had a busy one. I'm having a busy one myself. I'm happy to be here with you all. Everyone that's jumping on for the first time, I want to encourage you to subscribe, like, comment, share, whatever it can to get it out here into the algorithm and everything. First 3 months have been first 2 months have been pretty great on the Left Fresh podcast. Had a lot of great sports coverage, a lot of hip hop discussions and everything. Like I said, a lot of support, a lot of great feedback. I want to thank you all as well. Couldn't have done it all without you. First episode of March. It is International Women's Month. Great time to show appreciation in the hip hop world to our female hip hop artists who paved the way, kept it going, gave us great peaks and great musicians who've given us great classics to their art. And we'll take the time out to appreciate them in an industry that, a lot of times the ladies get a little ignored a little bit, but in this particular time, lady hip hop artists are really doing their thing. So definitely a good time to highlight all periods and spike periods and some of the greatest works that come from the female hip hop artists in history of hip hop. So without further ado, we're gonna get this on the roll. And like I said, if you're jumping on for the first time, I want to encourage you all to like, subscribe, comment. Um, yeah, it's been a good run as far as ladies, as far as hip hop goes. You know what I mean? It's like from the I want to say very beginning, women have always carried their weight when it comes to the hip hop. Many have held their own with many men who, a lot of times women got slept on and be like, oh, yeah, she can't spit like this, can't spit like that. But yeah, some lady artists that can hold their own with the best of them. And going back to the very beginning, you hear names like Roxanne Shante, you know, a lot of the ladies. It wasn't as saturated as it is now, but those women that came along, they held their own and they did amazing. Uh, and you also got, like I said, that peak period in the '90s where the hip hop market for women was that took off. We went from the Little Kims to the, Foxy Browns to the Queen Pens to the, you know, Eve, everybody, in that late '90s, 2000. That's kind of when it really started picking up for the ladies and everything like that. You know what I mean? And then, of course, where we're at now, like, it almost felt like, the last 2, 3 years, ladies just kind of just really took off to a whole nother level. You know what I mean? Like the Cardi B's, Lottos, the Thrillers. I mean, so many other female artists out right now, like, it's killing the game. So, um, which is kind of a great, thing. You know what I mean? It's like everybody's at a high peak. Everybody's kind of doing their thing. Um, you know, male artists are going hard too as well. The women artists are at a high level. But yeah, what I want to do is take the time out to shout out some of the OGs, and you know what I mean. Some of the ladies who kind of took on a role of, you know went at a time where, a lot of women might have got slept on, may have not have gotten the props they deserve and everything of that nature. But when it comes to certain OGs, you know what I mean. Like, for one, can't deny. I'm just gonna get it started off. Like I said, it can go a little further back, but I look at the Queen though, Queen Latifah, uh, repping Jersey. You know, real powerful. Had a had a powerful voice, had a powerful delivery as far as her rhymes. She, real witty, came up, very, very witty and clever with her words and everything like that. Real good speaking, her acting career as well. Like, she had the personality for it, strong personality, powerful and beats and everything like that. She kind of spoke empowerment to women. You know, it's kind of good because, you hear so many other negativity and degradation complaints in hip hop, and it's like you see Queen Latifah, it's like, yeah, that's one of those defiance. You know what I mean? She kind of gives you that pure hip hop that everybody can embrace. You know what I mean? Because it kind of gave that power. But then, you also had female artists that got into the creativity as far as entertainment wise. And I believe yeah, Lil Kim, who Biggie was going to feature as the Marilyn Monroe of hip hop. You know what I mean? It's like so. Different women embrace different lanes of female hip hop. Um, Queen Latifah's route tend to get a little more, credibility as far as morality wise. But can't deny what Lil Kim effect was either. Lil Kim, they bangers, they songs. She embraced her body, and you know what I mean. You can't deny both of them got results. And they were both women artists. They both empowerment to many women. A lot of women had them in their soundtracks and everything like that. I mean, you kind of got the same results with Queen Latifah as you did with Lil Kim. So it's like, they all carved out uh, their own niche for themselves. You know what I mean? And as far as creativity, I felt like that was kind of late '80s, early '90s. Then as it got into the late '90s, you started seeing more of themselves. Can't deny it. That's the hard truth. Lil Kim adapted to that game. Like you see, to me, these are like two of the most underrated discographies out of female hip hop artists because it's very rare that, for one, any artist has four albums that got a steady amount of bangers on it. Lil Kim, if you go back through these albums, like Lil Kim probably got a single off of there that hit a home run. You know what I mean? And Queen Latifah, same thing. She got a single off there that was powerful, that hit, that was kind of like hip hop respected. One she did a song on the New Jersey Drive soundtrack, and the song was called Jersey. I felt like that was one of the hardest beats you could have ever selected. You ever hear the New Jersey Drive soundtrack? And this song actually was called Jersey, where she's from and everything. She's repping and everything like that. And beat on there, the beat is crazy. I always loved that beat. You know what I mean? That was just one of my personal, you know, Lil Kim. I mean, not Lil Kim, Queen Latifah songs. And that wasn't even on one of her albums. The rest of the albums, at that time, you got to think about the '80s and '90s and everything like that. She really spoke that women's empowerment talk. You know what I mean? And good look. Um, Another catalog, another artist worth bringing up. Oh, yeah, another underrated catalog. Missy Elliott. Yeah, Missy. One of the best producers, one of the best behind the scenes. I mean, Missy's talented. You can't deny Missy. Missy kind of just tests the boundaries of creativity. You know what I mean? Like Missy will take it there and always good for that banger. You know what I mean? She's always good for an album with a banger on it. Like that's gonna go crazy. It's gonna sell a bunch of units. You know, Missy knows a formula for making hits and it's undeniable. You know what I mean? So, Super Duper Fly was an album that released in the late '90s. Um, Bangers, especially during that time. Timberland was at a high peak. Um, we got to this one here. Yeah, Missy almost every album that Missy put up, you know what I mean, had that one single, had that one banger. I think this Under Construction, yeah, I think Worker, I think Worker was on the other album, but this one Lose Control might have been on there as well. Like, yeah, this is like a dance song ritual right here. That album had that, a couple bangers on there that was just like captivated everyone. Definitely Missy definitely one of those artists in that mid '90s, 2000s peak that kind of kept everything going. And everything like that. Catalog, like I said, can't really can't really deny it. Um, it's got about 3, 4 albums, like I said, certified bangers. Um, Work It was on this album. That's right. Yeah, working on this album. Yeah, and this album right here, you had the Real World, 1999. That's right. Hot Boys were on it. Yeah, that was one. Hot Boys was another fire beat. Everybody jumping in. Nas on the feature and everything like that. And the vocals. Missy was versatile as well. You know what I'm saying? That was one of the best. That was one of her best features as well. That Missy was real. Um, kind of had the versatility. She can give you a one person banger. You know what I mean? She can rap the verses, she can sing the verses. You know what I mean? And it was like when Missy, like you really can't. I mean, no pun intended, but you really couldn't miss Missy. You know what I mean? Yeah, another great catalog. Yeah, now smoking on hot plate. Yeah, he did. Now it's definitely smoked hot plate. That beat, the beat selection, that was one of the things about Missy. You know, like with a lot of these artists, you gotta respect the beat selection. You know what I mean? That's like one of the keys to really putting together a great album. Missy kind of always had that formula. But yeah, legendary female group inducted into the Hip Hop Hall of Fame recently. Salt and Pepper, another OG. Put them in the class with Queen Latifah. You know what I mean? You gotta give it to them. You know what I mean? they put it down. They crossed with so many to walk. Um, Salt and Pepper, Cinderella. You know, I don't think I still there's no I don't think no way in the world you cannot avoid the song "Push It." You know what I mean? Like that to me is definitely OG's classic. Yeah, and very necessary. Yeah. Album. Let's talk about sex before this. This one here. Yeah. Yeah. Salt and Pepper came into that early '90s and was supplying it. You know what I mean? Like definitely OG female rappers right there. You know what I'm saying? They definitely put out big hits. Yeah, none of your business. Yeah, yeah, none of your business is another great song. Yeah, and then of course the collab with In Vogue. Of course the What a Man Shoot. Yeah, Salt and Pepper had bangers. And, you know what I'm saying? They had a chemistry that always worked. Um, like I said, I was impressed by the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction speech. Kind of wishing that label would treat them right. They deserve it. And it's criminal. The industry. But also got to salute another OG, MC Light. Act like you know. Yeah, MC Light definitely was another OG. You know, to me, that's kind of like the OG trilogy right there. You got Salt and Pepper, you got MC Light, you got Queen Latifah. You know, those three, like you think of the big, that's kind of like a big three of OGs. I mean, I know Roxanne Shante and everything as well. Definitely was impactful and everything as far as putting it down. But yeah, when you think about like the OG trio, you thinking like Salt and Pepper, you think about Queen Latifah, you think about MC Light. You know, and like I said, but yeah, and the transition, like I said, to Eve, transition. Speaking of Lil Kim, Foxy, Eve, yeah, Eve had a mean one too. Eve definitely had a mean one. You know what I mean? Like I felt like it was only two albums. That's why I like salute artists that got at least three or four albums. It's like even to get to that point, you know what I mean? It's like you're embarking on a great territory. Because you look at Eve right here, this album was great. You know, Love Is Blind was like that had everybody in the chokehold because raise awareness of domestic violence. She had a bangers too, Swiss Beats. You know, being on the right label with the right crew around her. Um, real good run. Then she had a great follow-up album, Scorpion. Everybody remember that classic single she had with Gwen Stefani. You know what I mean? Dr. Dre beat. I think everybody in the world. I think as soon as that beat come on, you got to urge like freestyle over. It was smooth. You know, Gwen Stefani with the vocals. Eve had a really, she had that Philly delivery. You know what I mean? It was rough, but it was feminine. You know what I mean? It kind of had that balance to it. You know what I mean? Right. She was real feminine, but yet she kind of had that roughness, like attack a track like an artist, like a rapper, like a spitter. You know what I mean? And that's kind of like the allure of female hip hop artists. Like, you know, it's like the balance of like sex sells, kind of rough, with a little aggression, let everybody know. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, got him, man. Yeah, that was another Swiss beat. Um, that was another good Swiss beat. Swiss was another one. This was during that Rough Rider period. You know, Swiss kind of had the keyboard type of sound and everything like that. And he had a good melody with that "Got a Man" joint. Yeah, I remember that. You know what I'm saying? And then yeah, none of your nothing to that. But yeah, you First Lady. This was a good one too because, like I said, she had DMX on there, she had the Locks on there, she had the whole family, the whole Rough Rider family jumping on there. So it was definitely it was a tough one right there. He definitely has, you know, definitely had impact, had an impactful period while she was working. In the same time as, like I said, Lil Kim, Foxy Brown, um, Missy. You know what I mean? That was kind of almost like I want to say almost like peak. I want to say almost like peak period female hip hop artists. You know what I mean? So yeah, I was definitely feeling that time. And speaking of such, like I said, that's your girl Foxy Brown. You know, Foxy had a 2 album run as well that was pretty hot. Like I said, doing it at the same time Lil Kim was. It got competitive for a minute. You know what I mean? It got real competitive. Lil Kim and Foxy Brown was definitely going shot for shot with one another and everything like that. I was like, that was a good entertaining period of time right there around that 2000s period. I think Lil Kim threw shots at Foxy on one of her albums. Foxy jumped on a feature with group. I don't know if you all know Noriega from Drinking Champs, his former group, CNN. Jumped on a track called Bang Bang, and she was getting that Lil Kim, and Lil Kim was getting that Foxy. It was a real competitive time right here. I think this is possibly one of the few times, like this was probably like the beginning of when female rappers, really got into the whole battle aspect. I mean, I remember female artists. I know there's probably female spitters, locally, mixtape wise, and there was even a battle circuit for female. But in the hip hop industry, like industry wise, I think like that was kind of like one of the first real female hip hop artists beat. And outside of Bridges Over and everything like that. I mean those type of things. But you know, um, now, I mean that period, like I said, two artists kind of kind of going at each other. And it was kind of like oh, ladies got a cat fight in hip hop. You know what I mean? Like I was like, yeah. And they traded their bars with each other, and I mean, listen, Foxy and Kim are both known for like holding their own lyrically. Two Brooklyn Queen MCs. So yeah, it was definitely a crazy period right there. It was, you know, now it's like oh, females going at each other, big deal. But I mean, back then it was like, oh wow, the ladies was fighting. You know what I'm saying? And the guys was like, kind of like, oh, shit, we got here. And I seen in the mixtape era, some of the artists that get into it with each other, and it's like, oh wow, usually the dudes, usually the male artists, and let's see more female artists started getting involved, start seeing a little more competitive juices, and those competitive juices are like universal. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's just kind of how it works out. But yeah, we went from the '80s to the '90s, and I'm gonna come back to some more again. But let's go ahead and jump into the present. I mean, a little further into it. I know she's not most popular at the moment. Not all the way across the board, at least. I mean, there's still some fans of her, but you got to be objective about the impact. And honestly, for this player, even feelings at the door, can't deny what she did. Period. That she was there. Nicki Minaj. Yep. Nicki Minaj came aboard with once she hit with Young Money and Drake and Lil Wayne. I mean, they was a three-headed monster. She was part of that three-headed monster. And not deny what Nicki Minaj was doing, racking up awards year in and year out. We had a long stretch with no competition. We gotta be honest. We really gotta be honest. We went a long stretch without any competition for it. And it was almost like, man, the rest of the female artists like we've had a big boom in today's hip hop artists after Nicki kind of, started to taper off because before that, man, Nicki used to, Nicki had everything locked down. I mean, I'm not even trying to glaze it or anything like that. Nicki Minaj had a period, like I said, that Young Money. Yeah, I hate that she turned out the way she did. She made good music. Did make good music. Yeah, I mean, you can't get caught up in there. When you look back in the overall timeline of hip hop, yeah, that Nicki Minaj period was, yeah, you cannot deny it. Like I said, she had verses, held her own with male artists. That's always been kind of like one of the impressive part about female artists is that if you can hold your own with male artists, get on verses. The Pink Print album right here that she dropped as well. So Nicki also had a pretty good really good follow up album to Pink Friday. Pink Friday, well, ladies album might be a classic. Um, yeah, the Pink Print album, was another one that she followed up with, real good. I think it has some bangers on there as well. I think Young Money, look back at that time. I think you can't look at how they are at this point in their career. You gotta look at that 2009, 2010, all the way to about 2000, almost 15. Nicki and Drake. Lil Wayne. Like that is two. He had an incarceration period before that, but yeah, they had it. You know what I mean? Uh, this one right here had Beyonce feeling myself. You know what I mean? It don't get any bigger than two fan bases like that. Nicki Minaj fan base, Beyonce fan base on the same album and everything like that. I mean, I know how it turned out at this point. Can't really deny what Nicki did during that period. You can't erase that type of history. That's kind of the hard part too. And then, like I said, we get to the present. And, oh, Cardi B. Yep, there's more since her, but Cardi, another one that kind of just Nicki kind of faltered a little bit. Cardi picked that up. Her and Nicki had an intense rivalry for a minute as well. Ironically, New York females always they always beat them up. If anybody gonna beat, they're gonna beat from New York. But Cardi, Nicki picked up their beef kind of where Lil Kim and Foxy Brown left off at. But these two artists are probably the biggest any two female artists can beat, especially this Invasion of Privacy album right here. This song had about, I'm gonna say, I don't know how many songs were commercially successful off this album. This album was like scattered with things. Bodak Yellow, to Be Careful, the I Like It, Through Your Phone, Blick in Head. All the women out here get uptown. I done heard every woman out here done play the Cardi B album. You know what I mean? Like, it was everything. Can't deny it. Same thing with Nicki. Same thing with Kim. Everybody got different approaches, different aspects. Different approaches to hip hop and everything. Cardi B played her approach. Fit. Everybody loved the authenticity. It, then even follow it up a couple years later. Actually, just last year, about the drama. This went viral. This everybody was, going crazy about this. And people always gonna have opposite views. Some people like it, some people didn't. Mixed views. For the most part, I heard it was kind of out of all the women that listened to this was definitely their banger for last year. Um, Cardi kept it moving, kept the songs pumping out, kept going for more and more bangers. Yeah, man. I definitely, respect the grind and respect the hustle. Cardi just, like I said, every song you can pretty much think of on these two albums. Yeah. Said you like that I Am I the Drama album? Yeah, yeah. I know a lot of women like it. You know what I mean? A lot of ladies liked it. I think the beat selection was pretty good. That's usually a lot of times, it makes a guy catch on to a lady song, basically like, hey, that beat selection was actually hitting. It's like, it's almost like a guilty pleasure. Listen to a female hip hop song and you actually kind of like the beat and everything is kind of riding, like, hey, do I bop to it or what? You know what I mean? Yeah, that's definitely the wave it is right now. Um, and we kind of just going down, a lot of us are like at the point of where we're at as far as hip hop artists and all that. Honestly, I think there's a balance of different lanes for it. Um, there's a lot of women out here who getting a lot of notice and recognition for their music, going crazy, going viral and everything, and that's the kind of new wave of the game. I think a lot of people are kind of mad at, you know, people make songs go viral. People make songs for TikTok. People make songs for different purposes and different. People consider different success rates when it comes to it. You know what I mean? And kind of just playing the game. And I don't think there's any artist that plays this game in today's world more than Sexy Red. Yeah, she plays the game. Am I the am I one to think that Sexy Red is great or anything? My thing is Beat selection. Yeah, I think her beat selection is so stellar that it is a man's guilty pleasure to listen to it. Like, you know, a lot of times, like I said, people look around. You probably ride around. I seen a meme or I seen a post one time where dudes riding around and guilt listening to Sexy Red because beat because the beat slaps so hard. I'm like, yeah, man, that's kind of like the best thing about Sexy Red. I'm not even saying the lyrics are great or anything. It's not Shakespeare, but you know, a catchy hook and some good beats can go a long way. And for the shock factor, he's gonna say some stuff that's gonna, he's gonna say some stuff that's gonna get under people's skin, gonna have people outraged. Oh my God, I can't believe she says, oh, this is so rad, oh, this is so rad. Yeah, you know what? Kind of playing the game to get you to react. This album right here had a couple of beats that I remember seeing NFL players playing in the locker. I'm like, man, this is where we at. NFL players playing Sexy Red beats in the locker. Chant, chant the hook. I didn't hear him say, I didn't hear him rapping the verse. I'm just playing with them. Down. But then you got this album that just released last year, Sexy Trust, keeping the ball moving. A lot of people kind of had some mixed feelings about it. Some with the deal, some outraged about everything. And, honestly, that's kind of the way we're at right now. There's different type of artists that you can listen to. Male influence, even females, you can listen to all different types. Um, like Glorilla, nominated for a Grammy. Gloria, um, got a couple bangers out there now. You know what I mean? She's been holding it down for a minute. Uh, one of the newer artists as well. I want to say about 2022, 2023, she started really picking up and everybody started noticing her. Yeah, she's another, I mean, she got bars too. I mean, it's not really, I mean, she can actually, I think she can actually rap a little bit. You know what I'm saying? She got like that intense delivery and everything. She got that Memphis style. That's what it is. You got that aggressive Memphis delivery. I always like Memphis rappers. They're real aggressive with their delivery. They make sure that everybody feel the lyrics when you rap. So, yeah, Glorilla, another one, the younger generation of artists, female artists, everybody's got the wave going about. So, yeah, she's definitely keeping the move. Like I said, Grammy nominated, can't deny it. Um, Lotto, Lotto's another one who's been putting out her grind for years, show after show, keeping it, keeping it moving, making more and more music. The relationship with 21 Savage kind of both of them to the limelight. But she's actually, making good music as well. A lot of women like Lotto. A lot of women, you see it online, you see it on TikTok, you see it on Instagram. Every time somebody make a post and everything, they're usually playing one of either the Glorilla, the Cardi B, the Sexy Red, or the Lotto. I think out of today's modern mainstream hip hop artists, they kind of been one of the main four. Is that a real relationship? Uh, I heard it is. I mean, I'm not going to question it too much. I'm just going to roll with it, find out, on the headlines. I mean, it did. I mean, before that, I checked out her work and everything like that, music. I remember she was putting her grind in a long time ago, trying to get in the door. See, a lot of times, some of these women get a lot of flack for the music they put out and the content they put out and everything. But, some of these women have been trying to rap for years and, passed over, looked over and everything until you make that raunchy song. And, people say they don't really hear it, but yet, you hear a beat playing outside of somebody's car, you hear a beat playing outside of somebody's, like apartment, parties and everything, clubs, clubs and everything like that too. So it's like, at the same time, controversial sells. In cases like the Meg Thee Stallion as well. Controversy always sells. And now what she's doing out here as well, her party at that point, complain about the controversy. like I said, the rapper forever, good stuff going for it. You do kind of a rock and a hard place. But, there's another artist that's been, real content, real thought provoking type of stuff. Dope. Album, Alligator Bites Never Heal with Holly Beard. Um, not so much. I think there's a little bit. I think there's more. It's like a balance with her, kind of like an empowerment. Just like I said, a lot of innovative concepts. You know what I mean? There's a lot of innovative concepts with her. She definitely has a great, great rhyming that can create concepts in your mind. Like, I always say, like, when you write or when you rap, you should be able to create pictures with your words. I think that she's one of those artists that actually does have a appeal to people with actually her words. You know what I mean? You actually listen to her and she's doing her storytelling and she's actually creating and everything like that. She's one of the best at it, right now. I mean, I got to give it to her, man. She knows how to come up with innovative concepts. She knows how to get people's attention as well. And it's like, hey, this is another one of those in the mix. Um, like I said, different lanes for different things. A lot of times people say, "Oh, you got these female artists, they only talk about this and stuff like that." Nah, there's different lanes for different female artists. There's different lanes for different female artists. A lot of times, a lot of these women just fall under the radar. You just sleep on. I pull up a picture of a rock, very powerful hip hop artist, good lyrics, and hold on with any male artist. You know what I mean? Very conceptual, can come up with different rhyme schemes. You know, I mean, that's why I always say, like, hey, you can't just sleep on everything. You can't sleep on it. You know what I mean? Like, you can't sleep on all the women. You can't just put them all in one box. Different lanes, even female artists to listen to. So, I mean, just kind of dig. You kind of got to do your own digging, because your own searching, your own listening on your own independent time. Because you go by with viral or what everybody putting out there and everything, you can easily paint everything with a broad stroke and think, oh, that's all it's out. Yeah, this club music, the Sexy Red and Lotto and Glorilla and Cardi B, there's Dochi, the Marinade on, think about. You got Rock right here. We also got another dope female artist, Shay Noir. Um, not CHE space NOIR. Yeah, dope female artist who raps kind of on the underground level with Ransom and 38 specials out there. Definitely a dope female artist. Who definitely got bars. Um, oh, that's the wrong one. There we go. Same one. There we go. Yeah, she's got such a catalog that's so extensive. I can't even fit it all in enough screenshots. Kind of got to decipher through her work. Like I said, these are albums right here. Desire Crowns just came out in 2025. No Validation came out also in 2025. Color Chocolate 2 came out in 2025. Seeds in Babylon came out in 2025. She dropped a lot of work last year. Dope female artist, dope with her lyrics. Want something away from the Sexy Reds and the Ice Spice and Meg Stallions and everything like that. I mean, nothing against them, but I mean, there's different lanes, so you don't have to complain. So, nothing else. Different lanes. I heard that. Yeah. So yeah, definitely like Shane Wah. Shane Wah. Um, dope MC. And his Rhapsody, another one. Been putting it down since 2011. Too much catalog to go through. Look it up on your own. Rhapsody. That's right. Rapsody. Rhapsody, one of the dopest female artists over the past decade and a half. Like I said, kind of just not really under the mainstream bill or anything like that. But yeah, people who tap in know Rhapsody gets in with the best of them. Like I said, Rock, Noir, Rhapsody, they kind of like the big three on a more underground basis of today's hip hop. Part of that underground renaissance. But yeah, like I said, the timeline of past, present, future. You know, I think the space of female hip hop artists is in a great place. They help us keep hip hop going as strong as it is. Um, Absolutely. I mean, all lanes and avenues. You know what I mean? I think it's going to keep getting better and better as things go. But that's my time for the night. We keep it real short because, you know, International Women's Month, I introduced them and everything like that. Also coming back 2 weeks from now. Won't be here next week. Come back the weekend after the plans and things that I have to do. Fresh birthday, wife. But yeah, I'll be back 2 weeks from now in another hip hop segment. I'll be back on Wednesday. So, yeah, tune in this coming Wednesday. Next Saturday, I'll post now. Have a great night.